Oh, bloody pillows, get out of the way, mate! Anyway, yes guys, welcome back to another video. Welcome to 6 things that we learned from Chelsea 2, Lille 1, the moment that Chelsea got through to the Champions League knockout stages. Job done when the draw was made. We looked at this group, we saw Valencia in there, you never know what you're gonna get. Ajax, Champions League semi-finalists, that one's tough. Lille, sadly for Lille, they ended up with 1 point. Amazing fans though, massive shout out to the Lille fans that were there yesterday, they were absolutely brilliant. But anyway, 6 things that we learned. As you can see, we've got 4 green boxes, we've got 2 yellow ones, we've got 1 in the middle, and 1 at the end of this video, because we've got to start looking forward now. This was kind of like the closing of chapter 1 of what will be a long story of Frank Lampard at Chelsea, and it's a successful one. It's something that we can look back on and say, we've actually got over a hurdle that was not an easy one, and we've done it early with a youthful team, and we are into the last 16 of the Champions League. So box number 1, we start off with the return of the German, Toni Rüdiger. The man is an enigma. Yesterday got back into the team, puts in a brilliant defensive performance. We saw some big tackles. We saw a calmness on the ball that I think is going to be very, very useful for this Chelsea defence. We know there's been a lot of issues. We know that because the centre-back partnership's changing so regularly due to injuries and Frank probably not knowing what the best 2 is, I think Rüdiger coming back is going to be a huge thing for this Chelsea team. I don't think it necessarily removes the fact that we probably need to spend money on a world-class leader who could be the centre-back for the future at Chelsea, but Rüdiger's introduction back into the team yesterday really did level us up at the back. Until the Lille goal, we looked solid, and Rüdiger playing out from the back again was a brilliant addition to Chelsea's play yesterday. He's back in the team, he looks fit, and hopefully he can start again at the weekend against Bournemouth. So box number 2, we're going to give this one to the captain. He scored a goal last night, Azpilicueta. I always rant and rave on here about how Reece James is Chelsea's #1 right back now, how he's walked his way into this team due to some brilliant performances, and we know that Reece James is the Chelsea future. However, so many times during his Chelsea career, Azpilicueta's been called upon and he has delivered. Yesterday, the goal, and it wasn't just the goal, I think that Azpilicueta's all-round game yesterday, defensively and also on the offence as well, was really, really good. Azpilicueta put in the exact performance that we needed on a night at Stamford Bridge, under the lights, where the pressure is on our team. Azpilicueta led by example. It's a brilliant headed goal as well. We've literally been calling to score some goals from set pieces for the entire season. Azpilicueta, he might not even be 6 foot, but he comes up with a header, reminding us of Ivanovic headers of old in the Champions League, John Terry headers of old in the Champions League. And if we're looking forward to the future, having someone like Azpilicueta to rely on in these big moments to lead Chelsea to victory is going to be absolutely key for the rest of this season, at a minimum for Azpilicueta's services. So a massive shout to Azpilicueta. He was a gargantuan yesterday. We move into a yellow box. I'm kind of steaming through this one quite quickly today. Gonna give a yellow box to Callum Hudson-Odoi. A lot of people are giving Hudson-Odoi some stick. People are saying, oh, you know, he came back and he got 5 assists in his first 5 games. Yeah, that's brilliant, that's cool. It kind of looks as though Hudson-Odoi has lost quite a bit of confidence. The key thing to remember with Hudson-Odoi is an ACL injury is a really nasty injury. It's the kind of injury that once it's happened once, it can happen again and again to a player. Now, in terms of Hudson-Odoi's confidence, the thing that for me we're not seeing at the moment is the final end product. I don't think Callum Hudson-Odoi's end product in recent games when he's had minutes would be up to the standard that we'd like to expect from him on that left-hand side. Confidence is something that always fluctuates within footballers. Sometimes players go through really good spells of form, then there's a bad patch of form, and right now, there's no doubt in my mind that because of this injury, Callum is just struggling with the confidence to probably run the same way that he did prior to his injury last season. I also think it's very good that Frank Lampard hasn't just seen that Hudson-Odoi signed a new 5-year deal for 100 grand a week and thinks, oh, well, you know, if this guy isn't playing every single week, then he might not even want to stay here anymore. With Frank, we know that he's going to pick the team based off of who's playing the best at the time, who's training the best, and at the moment, with Hudson-Odoi, I don't think the full confidence is there from himself in his own fitness to be able to warrant him starting over other players. So at this moment in time, Hudson-Odoi is getting his minutes off the bench, and I do feel as though he's probably just 1 goal away from having this turn of form to get that confidence back, to be able to keep taking on players. We did see it last night. The end product wasn't great from Hudson-Odoi. He looks a little bit laboured at times. He seems to have lost that bit of pace, but we have to just accept it at this moment in time because the guy's got so much innate ability, so much quality on the ball, but after an injury like that, we cannot expect him to be firing all guns blazing throughout the first few months of his return. So a message to anyone who's really worried about him, I wouldn't worry about it right now. The good news is, and I've not given him a green box today because I focused on a few other players, Christian Pulisic again, especially in that first half yesterday, was absolutely brilliant for Chelsea. Loads of successful dribbles, he looked so good on the ball, the ability to run around players, to get into good positions, to draw defenders out into the space, so that Tammy Abraham has got more room in the box. Christian Pulisic impressed me again yesterday, and at the moment, it's great news for Chelsea because if Hudson-Odoi isn't quite ready to be going at the same levels that we saw of him in the latter stages of last season, at least we've got someone with the ability of Christian Pulisic to come in and do it instead. So box number 4, I'm giving it to Jorginho. I thought he came back into the side yesterday and you can just see the difference in Chelsea's passing transitional play when he's on the pitch and when he's not on the pitch. There were so many times, particularly in that game against Everton, where Christensen and Zuma were coming out of the defence with the ball. Normally, Jorginho would be right there asking for the ball to then be able to distribute it himself. That wasn't there. Last night, when Chelsea won the ball back defensively in Chelsea's defensive half, Jorginho was always in the right place. Sometimes he makes like these erratic decisions. When he's made an error, he kind of overcommits and the error becomes worse. But the one key thing about Jorginho's game, which is pretty much the heart and soul of what Chelsea do when they transition in the play, positionally, there's no one smarter on the pitch than Jorginho. He's always ready to receive the ball. And yesterday again, we just saw how important he is. He's kind of the dough in the Chelsea team, the one that knits everything together. Jorginho was brilliant. I think N'Golo Kante was very good as well. Genuinely, that three-man midfield, I think it could be a thing for Chelsea moving forward. I think moving away from the 4-2-3-1, I still want to see us do that, but the 4-3-3 with Jorginho, Kante and Kovacic all on the pitch at the same time, I think there's too much quality within that midfield for us not to see it more often. So box number 5, I thought this man had a good game last night, and when you needed your striker to turn up and score a goal, Tammy Abraham did it for Chelsea. It was a lovely move between Willian, Christian Pulisic, and it was a really good instinctive finish from Tammy Abraham at the right place at the right time. Everyone's been saying this season, you know what, Tammy can score against the smaller teams, but is he going to score for Chelsea in the big games? Yesterday, yes, it wasn't against like a big European powerhouse. We're not talking about Barcelona, Real Madrid or Juventus here. We're talking about Lille. No disrespect to Lille, but they were the worst team in this group. And Tammy Abraham delivered away from home and also when we needed him to in the home game when Chelsea desperately needed to win. I thought Tammy's movement last night was a lot better than it was at the weekend against Everton. And if we're looking at what Tammy Abraham has brought to this Chelsea team, 13 goals, 5 assists in just over 20 matches so far in his first major breakthrough season at Chelsea. For me, as I said at the start of this video, this was like the end of chapter 1 of Frank Lampard's first season at Chelsea. Tammy Abraham has been the breakthrough man who has delivered for us. I'm so happy for him, honestly. You can see every time he scores a goal, exactly what it means for him. Even when the team scores a goal, like you see his face when Azpilicueta is about to head the ball, he's fully immersed in the experience that he is playing for Chelsea, leading the line, Chelsea's number 9. Tammy Abraham deserves a box of his own. I think he's had a little bit of stick recently for his movement. I think there's definitely he's been playing with injuries as well, which doesn't really help matters. And I don't think Frank fully supports the other two strikers that can come in for him. But last night, his movement, particularly for the goal, was absolutely fantastic. He got us right underway within the first 20 minutes. Chelsea needed that last night. We needed to score a relatively early goal to be able to push forward and get the win in the end. So Tammy Abraham gets a box. Obviously last night, the whole thing was, let's just make sure we win to get out of the group. We couldn't do anything about the result between Ajax and Valencia. No one expected Valencia to get the win there. So Ajax are out of the Champions League, which is a little bit mental considering how good they were last season. So Chelsea go through in second. I've given it a yellow box because if we look back on this as kind of like the closing of the door for Frank Lampard's first real challenge to get out of the group in a European competition, it's kind of like, again, little things that have happened along the way that we can't do anything about it now, but I've given it a yellow box because the caliber of teams that we're going to have to come up against next is absolutely ridiculous. We're talking PSG, we're talking Barcelona, Juventus, Bayern Munich, or Red Bull Leipzig, who are probably the most favourable draw, yet they're still a very, very good team that Chelsea could not underestimate going into this one. Chelsea did make it hard for themselves at times. I think particularly the game at home to Valencia, we look back at that one, Ross Barkley missed the penalty. These are things you learn from, and I think from that moment, Chelsea have grown as a team, and we may have gone through a little sticky patch of form, and we're still not keeping clean sheets. What I'm seeing from Chelsea right now is that the first real hurdle that that we had, which was winning a game under pressure. And if you look at this graphic on the screen now, you've got performances from the captain, performances from the main striker who you need to turn up and score goals, and performances from the engine man in the middle. When Chelsea needed our big players to step up, it's exactly what we did, and that is the reason why we are in that draw on Monday morning, 11 AM for the Champions League Last 16. We did make it difficult for ourselves at times, but it is done. And I've given this a yellow box. It should be a green really, because at the end of the day, we managed to make it out of the group, which was the overall goal when the draw was made at the beginning. But I've given it a yellow because, again, I think it's really important for us to remember that even though Chelsea have done a great job, there's still improvements that can be made, and we're going to really need to improve if we're going to have any chance of getting past whoever it may be that we draw on Monday in the last 16 come 2020 in the Champions League. So that's the end of this 6 Things We Learned video. Thank you guys very much for watching it. It's been a little bit dark in here today, I'm not going to lie. I hope that this looked okay for you guys, but if you want to go and check out the match vlog, it was uploaded earlier on this morning. Definitely go and check that one out. Hit the like button if you enjoyed this video, and as always, let me know the 6 things that you learned from this game against Lille in the comments down below. It was a good all-round performance from Chelsea. We should have had a few more goals. I think we should have seen the game off early. It was extremely nervy for that last 10 minutes. The entire stadium was pretty quiet, to be honest, because Chelsea at the moment, we kind of expect to concede goals. And it was as if Lille had suddenly realised that, oh, we're at Stamford Bridge. Like, yeah, we're at the Champions League, but this is a big stage and our fans have been incredible. So Lille turned up for the final 20 minutes of the game, made it difficult for us, but Chelsea get over the hurdle and we're into the last 16. Thank you guys for watching. Subscribe to the George Benson Football channel if you haven't already. Hit the like button if you enjoyed this video, and I'll catch you all tomorrow for a brand new transfers video and something else as well. Stay tuned for it. See you all later. Goodbye.